All right, we're here for session 2 of Narcissistic Therapy. Narcissistic Therapy is my episodic vlog, and to give you an introduction, I am Gabriel Castillo, comedian, brand ambassador, tour guide, fitness enthusiast. Narcissistic Therapy is my episodic vlog where I talk out events, feelings, things that are going on with me. And it is narcissistic because it is a completely one-sided conversation. It is all about me. And it is therapy because through talking it out, I can work through those feelings and events and get some healing going on, right? So let's the healing begin. Today's session, we are talking about my journey in comedy, how I got started, and how what's led me to this point, and a little bit of where I'm going. I want to talk about my journey because in our first session, we talked about why I took myself off a bringer show, and I got very passionate. And I want to give you guys some context, as Eric Bischoff says, context is king. So to understand where I'm coming from and how I feel, to understand a person's words and actions, it is best to understand their journey so that you can get a better insight and perspective into their philosophy and their ideology. So when I see, I never grew up with a goal in my life. I never did. I wasn't raised to have a goal, and for the most part of my 20s, I just kind of went through life. And when I went to prison in 2011, I made a declaration to myself that I was going to get out as soon as possible. I got a 5-year sentence, and it was a violent crime, so the earliest I could get out was 50% of the time. I had to do at least 50%, so that would be 2.5 years. And I made that declaration to myself. So I finally had a goal, like a real goal, and I was passionate about this goal, and I was fervent that I was going to get out as early as possible, and I was going to stay the same person. Wasn't going to let that experience make me a worse person. Maybe not the same person, but I wasn't going to turn into something I wasn't, because I've seen a lot of people do that. So, you finally get a goal in life, and it means something to you. And I got there. I got out exactly 2.5 years. So that's, when people question my dedication or getting notifications. It can hurt me because I've done things and I've proven myself to myself many times. And this is one of the first times that I really did prove myself to myself, because it wasn't easy to do what I did, but I did. A lot of people said I'd have to do 3 or 4 years at least, maybe even the whole 5, but I didn't. I got out the day that I should have, or the earliest I could have, and that meant something to me. So when I got out, I still had 2.5 years on my sentence, so I had to be on parole for 2.5 years, and it was I had to go through a halfway house, and I had to do UAs and home visits and classes and pay money every month. It was very, very burdensome, but I did it, and I did it with flying colors. I absolutely crushed that shit. I never put myself in any precarious situation. I always took care of everything I needed to, because I had this goal, right? I needed to complete this, because I told myself I'd never go back, because I felt like I had more potential than that. For the first time, I thought about potential in my life, and I thought I had more potential than that. So to go back would to infringe on what I kind of saw in myself. So I get out September the 23rd, 2013, and I'm off parole March the 16th, 2016. And suddenly that goal that I had lived with for the last 5 years, and that pushed me to get the job that I had, that pushed me to structure, that pushed me to discipline, was gone. I had completed the task. I had won the video game, or that portion of it. And I didn't realize it on the journey, like during the road, but when it was gone, I felt empty inside. I felt like I had no purpose anymore. I had achieved the thing I was looking to achieve, and now there was nothing left to do. My job didn't mean anything to me anymore, and it was a lucrative job. I was selling solar, and I was making good money, especially for a felon, making great money. And everyone was proud of me, but I was empty inside. And I started to fuck off at work, and I got back into cannabis, which isn't a bad thing. I just got back into cannabis. And I started to do all the things I couldn't do. I was just like, they kept me from, the state of Texas, and my own choices kept me from certain things that I wanted to do, and now I was going to do them completely and fully. So that's what I did. It was a life of hedonism. And through that, there was this small voice in my head that has always been there, that was telling me that this was not purpose and passion. This was hedonism masquerading as purpose and passion. And I hated it. I didn't know what to do about that feeling, because I didn't know where purpose was. I didn't know where passion was. And I've searched for it in many different things, in people and substances, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't quiet that voice in my head that was telling me that there was something more out there. So, during a conversation that I am eternally grateful for, my best friend, who was also in an empty place, was talking to me, and he flippantly makes this comment that I don't know where it came from, but I'm glad it did. He said, I'm thinking about going to an open mic and just getting some shit off my chest. And suddenly a seed was planted, and I've always loved performing, but never thought about comedy. I didn't even know how do you start comedy. There's no college course for it. There's no there's no set path for to be a stand-up comic. But he said open mic, and he said comedy, and suddenly light bulb went off in my head. And I looked up open mics here in San Antonio, and I found 2 at the LOL at Park North, and the River Center, at the time it was a River Center Comedy Club at River Center Mall. And I told him that I was going to go do it, and he flaked out. And I begged him to come because I was scared. I was nervous and anxious, and he didn't. But that was okay, because I had already watered that seed. I was writing material, or what I thought was material, and I decided I was going to do it. I decided I was going to go do it. So on a Tuesday, February the 28th, 2017, yours truly went over to the LOL at Park North and signed up for an open mic. And the energy in the room when I walked in just felt different. There was this anticipation of performance, and I kind of knew I was in the right place, but I didn't know I was in the right place yet. And then when I went on stage, that voice in my head, that unrelenting voice that has always spoken to me about my potential, about passion, about purpose, it said, this is it. This is what you've been looking for. And I got maybe a couple of laughs or chuckles, or maybe I thought I did, or maybe 1 or 2 people laughed, and I interpreted it as the crowd laughing, but that's a moot point, because I felt in my place. I felt like I found something. I found a new goal, and it wasn't a goal that anyone could take away from me. It wasn't a goal that was on a time scale. It was a goal that I could have forever. And I got off stage and I knew it. I knew I found something. I knew I found what my rest of my life was going to be about. And people say that, and I never knew what they meant when they did, but I know now. So, and at the time we only had those two mics. I think there was a couple in Austin, and I fell in love with it too much, and I said, this is not enough. I need more. I can't get where I want to go. I can't be as good as I need to be with this limited amount of stage time. So I wanted to move to Denver, Colorado, and I researched it like a madman. I called places for jobs. I looked on Craigslist at apartments, and I tried to make it work, and I tried to make it work, and I tried to make it work. I visited like 4 times. I was like, legal cannabis, a comedy scene, beautiful scenery. This is going to be my new home. And I couldn't make it work. I couldn't make it work economically. So I see a news flash on the TV, and it said, Las Vegas has just legalized cannabis. And it'll go legal later this year. And something was just like, well, what about Las Vegas? And I thought it was going to be like New York or LA, right? I thought it was going to, like, I'd have to live like across the street from the Bellagio, and then I'd have to pay $1,500 for like a closet. And I started searching and doing research, and turns out the further you live away from the Strip, and even towards the Strip, it's not that expensive. Well, like, it's manageable cost of living. So I made that decision in my head that I was going to move to Las Vegas, which sounded so crazy in my head. I was like, Las Vegas? Like, you're going to move to Las Vegas? You've never been to Las Vegas? You don't know anybody there, but you're just going to move there. You're going to pack up your stuff in this 1999 Chevy Lumina with 170,000 miles on it, and you're going to fucking drive across the country because you want to be a comic. You're fucking crazy. But that voice in my head told me I wasn't crazy. That this is what I needed. And this is where I was going to find what I was looking for. So I listened. And everybody said I was crazy. Family, friends, they all thought I was like, you've done this for 2 months, and all of a sudden you think you're gonna move to this place you've never been, and what? You're gonna be some famous comedian? Like, you're fucking nuts, dude. My thinking was, show me somebody who has done anything great who wasn't crazy, right? And I believed in myself. I believed in this, and it felt right. That was more than important. It felt right. So, despite all of the very, very logical reasons not to, people said, it takes 10 years to find out if you're even any good, 20 years to even make it. You're 32 years old. Like, come on, man. Didn't matter. It didn't fucking matter to me. Because what else? I was going to be 42 anyways. I'd be 52 anyways. What am I going to, and what am I just going to be in a life I fucking hate? Fuck that. And, most people will find 100 reasons not to do something. And I'll find the one reason to do it. And that's Gabriel Castillo right there. The eternal optimist. The hopeful soldier. Always looking for the reason to persevere, to see it through. The clear eye view. So, sorry. I'm a crybaby. But this is therapy. So I packed everything up, sold what I could, just like you'd see in some fucking crazy movie, and drove off to Las Vegas, Nevada for a 19-hour drive from San Antonio, Texas, in a 1999 Chevy Lumina with the oil light on halfway through. And I didn't know anything about this industry. I didn't know anything about the art form. I didn't know anything about a scene. I didn't know the politics. I didn't know jack shit. I was green as goose shit. All I knew was that when I was on stage, I felt purpose, passion, and I felt in my place. And I felt like that was enough, and that would get me through. And I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've pissed a lot of people off, and I've done a lot of really good things, and I've had a lot of achievements. But that is the road, that is the journey. It's not the hero's journey. It's just, the hero's journey is not an easy one. The hero's journey is rife with doubt and friction and upheaval. But it's your journey and it's your struggle. And there's a sense of peace and comfort that comes with that. And that's what I felt. No matter everything I went through, it didn't matter, because I felt that peace and comfort that I was living my truth and that I was living my path. And nothing means more to me than this art form. Nothing means more to me than being on stage, because all of the trauma that I have been through, all of the pain, the failures, they all have meaning on stage, because people relate to them and they laugh. I don't do dry material. When I'm on stage, you're going to hear about my life. You're going to hear about my pain. You're going to hear about my failures. You're going to hear about every ugly thing about me. But you're also going to hear it about yourself, because you might not have been through the same thing, but you've been through something like it. And when we can laugh about that, it takes away some of the power it has over you, right? Because suddenly, if you can laugh about it, then it doesn't have any power over you, because we're laughing. And everybody's laughing, so that we're all equal, right? Like, we're all going through these things, and we're not unique in our experience. We're completely in common with our struggles. And there's power in that commonality. There is power in that laughter. And it makes everything I've been through not in vain. Not in vain. I've been through some shit, and we'll talk about that in a future session. But and that's why I love this art form, and that's why I'll be doing this for the rest of my life. In 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, until the day that I die, I will be a comic, because it's the only thing that has ever made me feel like everything I've been through had meaning. It's the only thing that I've ever had that makes me feel connected to people. Because for the most part, I'm a big introvert, man. And it sounds crazy, because I have a platform and I get on the stage and people see that part of me, but man, there's a big part of me, a much bigger part of me, that just rather just stay in my room and sorry, more notifications, and read and just stay disconnected from everything, because it just feels safer. But I know that there's no growth in that. I know that I owe it. I owe it to myself, and I owe it to the audience to to give them that experience, to let them know that it's okay that you're fucked up. It's okay that you've been through some dark shit, because we're going to laugh about that shit. It's completely okay. And not only is it okay, it's fucking great. Because it makes you stronger, makes you more relatable, makes everything more meaningful. So that's why when some fucking jackass cares more about me bringing people to a fucking show and putting on a good set or putting on a good show, I get fucking pissed. Because you impugn on everything I've been through. You impugn on my journey. You impugn on this art form and everything everyone, including myself, has sacrificed for it. That's why. Time's up. So, thank you for listening. Like, comment, share, all those fun things that we do. I know I feel good talking this out. Maybe you feel good too. To another day.